guys, welcome back to Books with Bree. Today we are doing a half price books book haul. My boyfriend gave me a budget for my Christmas present and took me to half price books. So we're gonna go over all of the books that I picked out. I ended up getting 13 different books, so I am excited to go through which ones I decided to get with you guys. So the first book I got from the clearance section was $1, and that is Heroes, Gods, and Monsters of Greek Mythology by Bernard Evslin. We have a bunch of Greek mythology stories in here, and he goes through and it says gives more perspective to the characters that we see throughout Greek mythology, and I'm always been super into Greek mythology, so I'm excited about this one. The second book I ended up picking up, again from the clearance section, was $2, and that was this copy of Scottish Folklore by Raymond Lamont Brown. There are tons of Scottish folklore that I am not personally acquainted with, and that just sits wrong with me because I love Scottish stories, so I couldn't pass this up. There is no description for this book on Goodreads, so I'll just read you the short excerpt on the back really quick over what all is in here, because there is a lot apparently. This book explores the traditions of Scottish folklore, from gypsies and Arthurian legends to tales of magical beasts, demons, and witches, as well as lore associated with the natural world, which I could not pass up. I've been obsessed with Outlander the past few months. And I love Rain, which centers around Mary, Queen of Scots. So this was an absolute must. The next two books I got were both Stephen King books. So first, for $4.49, I got The Stand. I love the mass market editions. They are fantastic. I love them. This is basically an apocalyptic world where some sort of disease, it sounds like, escapes a lab, and I don't know very much about this one other than there's a TV show that recently came out called The Stand, based on the book with Alexander Skarsgård. Love this man. He is amazing. So I'm really excited to read The Stand. My boyfriend read this one. He really liked it. I had to pick up this one. The second Stephen King book I ended up picking up for $1 in the clearance section is Dreamcatcher. I'd never heard of this one before, but I eventually want to have all of Stephen King's books. I don't have very many right now, so I think this was a steal. From what I can gather from the synopsis, these 4 kids save this Down syndrome kid from a group of bullies, and then 25 years later end up reuniting for a hunting trip in the woods of Maine and end up confronting this otherworldly creature. And I'm excited to see where this goes, because Stephen King is really good with these like otherworldly creatures. I've read It, and that was weird but phenomenally written. I'm excited to read this one. I'm hoping it's good. There have been a few Stephen King ones that I've read where I'm like, so we'll see how this one goes. Back to the different mythology books I picked up, I then found for $1 in the clearance section Dictionary of Mythology by Bergen Evans. This has a bunch of different tales about the gods, and I can't find much else about it, but I thought the cover looked really cool. It was a mass market paperback, and I could never know too much about the different myths, so I had to get this one. The last mythology type book I picked up was this one called Bullfinch's Mythology, which is a modern abridgment of Edmund Fuller, which contains 3 volumes: The Age of Fables, The Legends of Charmelin, and The Age of Chivalry. I didn't know what any of these were when I picked it up, but they sound amazing. So The Age of Fables is the gods and goddesses of Greece and Rome, as well as the mythology of the Germanic tribes, England, and the Near East. So cool. I can always do with some more mythology from that point. The Legend of Charmelin is accounts of the reign of the first great French emperor, his wars and conquests. As somebody obsessed with France, I can always do with some more history. And The Age of Chivalry is King Arthur and his court, Lancelot and Guinevere, and the death of Arthur. I have been influenced by King Arthur stories my entire life. My grandma got me obsessed with the Mist of Avalon movie that had come out, I believe, through BBC in the early 2000s, and I've been stuck on King Arthur ever since. So this was a had to, like, no question. And for $1, couldn't ask for a better deal. This next one my boyfriend found in the clearance section, and I thought it was really funny. So for $3, I got this book called Aquarius. They had a whole bunch of different zodiac signs. I'm not sure what it's even about, but it's still in like this saran wrap. And as an Aquarius, it can never hurt to read more about your zodiac sign. So remember how I mentioned earlier I'm super into France? Well, my boyfriend also found this book called Boudecker's Paris. It's basically a travel guide to Paris. I'm not sure how old it is, but it'll be cool to read. Maybe I can write a story set in this time. And I didn't realize until just now, flipping through it, it came with a huge city map. So this will be cool, especially if I write a story at this point in time. I'll let you guys know what time period it actually is when I figure that out. But next, I picked up this book specifically because I just finished watching Welcome to Derry, and I loved the Lovecraftian type horror that is Pennywise. And so I decided, well, if I love Lovecraftian horror, let's pick up an H.P. Lovecraft book. So this is a collection called The Horror in the Museum of a bunch of different Lovecraft stories, especially because I've been wanting to write more like Lovecraftian horror. So this will be some really good like way to immerse myself in that type of horror before I actually start writing anything in it. The next 2 books I picked up were both by Patrick Rothfuss, and I have only seen one of these in a physical copy before. Not this first one, but the second one. This first one I've never seen in print, and I knew I had to have it the second I saw it because I've read the audiobook, and it's just my favorite character from Patrick Rothfuss's King Killer's Chronicles, and that is the Slow Regard of Silent Things. This is about Ari. She is a recluse who lives in basically the sewers of the university in the King Killer Chronicles, and we see her through Quoth's eyes a couple of times, and she's always this very mysterious character. We don't really know what's going on with her and what she is doing, but you can tell as you read it she's going to end up being important to the rest of the series, and I'm hoping we're right on that once Patrick Rothfuss finally releases the 3rd and final book in the King Killer's Chronicles. So, but this one I've never seen in print, and for $5.49, I couldn't pass it up. The second book by Patrick Rothfuss I picked up was The Narrow Road Between Desires. This follows the character Bass from the Kingkiller Chronicles again through a day going around the village. It's more of a story allowing us to get to know Bass as a character, because in the Kingkiller Chronicles he is very much just a side character as of now. He is very important to the story, obviously, because he is working with Quoth and he is one of the few who know Quoth is this legendary hero who is in hiding, but we don't really know why Bass knows that, or how he knows it, or what happened between the end of book 2 and when Quoth actually starts relaying his story to the chronicler in the Kingkiller Chronicles, the very beginning of the book. So that's how the story is framed, is Quoth is telling his story to this guy called the chronicler who wants to write Quoth's story, but he has been off hiding and we don't know why as the readers, but hopefully in the third book we'll find out. This was very interesting. Bass is a very interesting character, specifically because he is Fae, and we don't really get to see a lot of Fae in the Kingkiller Chronicles other than Bass, and very briefly at that during the intermissions while Quoth is telling his story. The second to last book I decided to pick up in my Christmas half-price books haul is Teach the Torches to Burn, a Romeo and Juliet remix for $3, hardcover. Love it. I'm obsessed with Romeo and Juliet. I have been for as long as I can remember. And so anytime I see a Romeo and Juliet retelling, I instantly can't tell myself no. And gay Romeo and Juliet retellings, there is no as an option. So I'm really excited to read this. It seems like it might be a YA retelling, but I haven't looked into it at all, so I could be wrong. Do not quote me on that. And the last book I got, I forgot, was also Stephen King, and that is The Gunslinger, the first book in the Dark Tower series. Like I said earlier, I want all of Stephen King's books, and I think I want to start diving into the Dark Tower series here soon so that I have a better grasp of Stephen King's universe, considering all of his books are interconnected some way, some shape, some form, and it all ties back into the Dark Tower series. So that was my half-price books book haul. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. And don't forget to leave a comment down below. Let me know if you guys have read any of these books, or if there's any other books I should check out that you guys were reminded of by this haul. I'm really excited to jump into some of these. Thank you.